But what is known is the substances that are broken down in the body after eating genetically modified foods are not known in the body and have the ability to tamper and even damage our DNA.
Hello everyone, I'm Barbara O'Neill, and today we're discussing some critical lifestyle habits and environmental factors that can damage your DNA and increase your risk of cancer. Understanding these can help you make informed decisions about your health. Before we begin, I'm curious about you. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments and feel free to ask any questions you might have. Let's dive into the 9 significant risks.
Obviously, when people live on fast food that is totally mineral deficient, they're going to be mineral deficient. But we're finding people today who are even eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and are finding out that they're mineral deficient, and it's because of the way that they're grown. So that is one of the reasons, and as you can see by what the research is showing, even 92% of DNA damage is being caused by mineral deficiency. We've lost the glue that's gluing us together. Chemicals. It is estimated 30,000 new chemicals are introduced to mankind every year. You have no say over the neighbour, but you have total say over what is in your house. Make a decision to become chemical free and go for organically grown fruits and vegetables as much as possible. Be cautious about what some of the things that are in the supermarket. We had a pest control man do our program. He said to me, there are things in that supermarket that I'm not allowed by law to use. What would they be? Some of those oven cleaners, some of those bleachers, they're very toxic. As we go through this series, I will be showing you alternative ways to keep your house nice and clean.
Understanding the full impact of mineral deficiency is crucial, especially when considering the long-term health of our cells and overall well-being. It's not just about preventing deficiency, it's about cultivating an environment within our bodies that promotes optimal health and resilience against DNA damage that can lead to cancer. One of the vital steps towards this is enhancing the mineral content of our own gardens. If you have the space, starting a small garden and using rock dust or sea minerals can significantly increase the mineral content of the soil, which in turn enriches the plants grown in that soil. This practice doesn't just enhance the flavour of your produce, it enhances your health. But what about those who don't have the luxury of growing their own food? It's important to be selective about the sources of your fruits and vegetables. Choose organic and locally grown produce whenever possible. These options are less likely to be grown in depleted soils and have a higher likelihood of having a better mineral balance. Moreover, we need to talk about water. The water you drink can either contribute to mineral intake or deplete your body further. Tap water in many areas is often stripped of important minerals during purification processes. Opting for mineral-rich spring water or using a high-quality water filter that remineralizes the water can make a significant difference in your overall mineral intake. In summary, protecting our DNA from damage and guarding against cancer isn't just about cutting out the bad, it's equally about incorporating the good. Ensuring adequate mineral intake from well-sourced, high-quality food and water is a foundational step in this process. It's about making conscious choices every day that align with a healthful, protective lifestyle against the silent threat of DNA damage.
Genetically modified foods. Genetically modified foods cause cancer because genetically modified foods are a result of the DNA of 2 species being spliced together. For instance, the DNA of an Atlantic salmon with the DNA of a tomato spliced together in the hope that a tomato will be created that will grow in the snow. But actually they don't usually result in that, and there's this huge grey area. They do not know the full effect on human beings, but what is known is the substances that are broken down in the body after eating genetically modified foods are not known in the body and have the ability to tamper and even damage our DNA. Electromagnetic field excess. We are electrical people. We have a spark of electricity in every cell. Our nervous system specifically is our electrical system.
It's crucial to delve deeper into the unknowns that accompany these modifications. The insertion of foreign DNA into plants not only has unpredictable effects on their growth and nutrition profile, but also on how these foods interact with our bodies at the molecular level. The concern is that these GM foods might produce novel proteins that our immune system doesn't recognise, potentially leading to inflammatory responses which are known precursors to cancer. Furthermore, the use of genetic modification often leads to increased pesticide use. Crops like GM corn and soy are engineered to withstand herbicides that would normally kill a conventional plant. This means they are often sprayed more liberally with chemicals that can remain as residues on the crops and enter our bodies, contributing further to our toxic load and potential DNA damage. The impact on biodiversity must also be considered. GM crops can cross-pollinate with non-GM crops and wild plants, leading to unintended consequences in our environment. These ecological shifts can alter the natural balance and reduce the variety of plant species that have natural cancer-protecting properties. As we consider the foods that we introduce into our diet, it's not only about looking for the non-GMO label, but also understanding the broader environmental and health implications of genetically engineered foods. The precautionary principle should guide us to prefer traditional, organically grown crops that have co-evolved with humans over thousands of years, ensuring a natural balance that supports both our health and the planet's ecosystems. In conclusion, while the science behind genetic modification is impressive, the potential health implications are too significant to ignore. By choosing organically grown and non-GM foods, we minimise our risk of ingesting unknown and potentially harmful substances that could damage our DNA and increase our cancer risk.
Electromagnetic field has the ability to tamper or interfere with your electromagnetic field, causing damage at the cellular level, even at the DNA level. In humans, they are 10 hertz. That's the electromagnetic field in humans. And that's, I think it's 10 revolutions per second. And with huge power lines, you often get a 50 hertz, and it's well known to cause damage at the cellular level. The farmer knows that he cannot let his cattle graze under those huge towers because stillborns will be a result, even deformities in the little calves. My children used to like going up to the huge towers. It was about 1 kilometre away from where we lived when they were little, or when they were adolescent, and they would find everlasting daisies with 5 centres. They would find all this mutation in plant life underneath these big electrical towers. So if these towers have the ability to tamper with the DNA of plants and the DNA of animals, what about the DNA of humans? Absolutely.
As we delve deeper into the implications of electromagnetic fields, EMF, it's vital to recognise their pervasive presence and the subtle yet profound impact they have on our health. Living in a world surrounded by technology means constant exposure to EMFs, whether it's from our smartphones, Wi-Fi routers, or even seemingly innocuous appliances like electric clocks next to our beds. These devices emit EMFs that, although invisible, are constantly interacting with our biological systems. Research indicates that prolonged exposure to EMFs can lead to a decrease in the production of melatonin, a critical hormone not only for regulating sleep, but also for its antioxidant properties that protect our DNA from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is a known contributor to various diseases, including cancer, by damaging cellular DNA over time. Moreover, there's increasing evidence suggesting that EMF exposure can lead to genomic instability in cells. This instability is a hallmark of cancer, as it can lead to mutations that, if unchecked, may evolve into malignant tumours. To mitigate these risks, it is wise to adopt precautionary measures, such as limiting the use of wireless devices, keeping them away from our bodies, and turning off Wi-Fi at night. Another practical step is grounding or earthing, simply spending time in direct contact with the earth, like walking barefoot on grass. This natural connection can help neutralise the surplus of positive ions from EMFs and rebalance the electrical state of our bodies. By consciously reducing our exposure to EMFs and adopting habits that mitigate their effects, we can protect our cellular integrity. It's about making informed choices to safeguard our DNA, thus significantly reducing our risk of cancer and other EMF-related health issues. Embracing these habits supports not only our physical health, but also enhances our overall well-being in our increasingly digital world.
Also, stimulants. Stimulants have the ability to tamper with your DNA, and as I go through this, you will see what I mean by this. One is sugar. We have 400 diabetics being diagnosed every day in Australia at the moment. That's an epidemic. Sugar was not known on the planet until, diabetes was not known on the planet till sugar was well established. Hippocrates has no mention of diabetes in his literature. What does sugar do? How does it cause diabetes? It causes a massive blood sugar level rise, and then the pancreas has to respond with a massive amount of insulin to get that blood sugar level down again. And then the person usually goes too low, and so they go and get another little bit of sugar. And so what they're often doing, you'll find that their blood sugars are like this all day long. Crisis, 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 crisis. And eventually, the pancreas just says, I've had enough, and it doesn't produce insulin anymore. Diabetes mellitus simply means sweet urine. So when the pancreas isn't releasing insulin, then the insulin can't be stored in the cell, it stays in the blood and it spills out into the urine. In Australia today, we're looking at about 4th generation sugar abuse. Granted, many people don't realise they're abusing sugar, but it is a highly addictive drug, and I will be showing you that as we go through this series.
Building on the understanding of sugar's impact, it's essential to realise that its effects extend far beyond just diabetes. Sugar consumption is fundamentally linked to an inflammatory response in the body, which is a critical risk factor for cancer. When we consume sugar, our bodies must deal with the resulting inflammation and spikes in insulin, which can exacerbate cellular damage and lead to DNA mutations, setting the stage for cancer cells to develop and proliferate. Furthermore, sugar contributes to obesity, another significant risk factor for cancer. Fat cells, especially those accumulated around the abdomen, are not merely inert storage of excess calories. They actively produce estrogen and inflammatory markers, which can further damage DNA and promote cancer growth. To mitigate these risks, it's crucial to reduce sugar intake and instead focus on a diet rich in whole foods that naturally regulate blood sugar levels. Foods high in fibre, such as vegetables, fruits and whole grains, slow down the absorption of sugar in your bloodstream, preventing the sharp spikes that lead to insulin overload and subsequent crashes. This more stable blood sugar environment helps maintain healthy pancreatic function and reduces the overall inflammatory response. Replacing processed sugars with natural sweeteners like stevia, which do not have the same metabolic effects as sugar, can also be beneficial. Additionally, incorporating foods with natural anti-inflammatory properties, such as turmeric, ginger, and omega-3 rich fish, can support your body's ability to handle sugar more effectively and protect against DNA damage. By addressing sugar intake, not only can we better manage diabetes, but we can also significantly reduce the risk of developing cancer by protecting our cells from the corrosive effects of high sugar levels and chronic inflammation.
Caffeine. Caffeine interferes with the neurotransmitters in the brain. And when the neurotransmitters in the brain are being interfered with daily, every day, coffee, Coke, chocolate, then that couple can give birth to a baby who has a tendency or a susceptibility to mental illness because of the disruption in neurotransmitters that constantly happening begins to affect the DNA.
Caffeine's influence extends beyond just the disruption of neurotransmitters. Its effects seep deeper into the cellular level of our bodies. This stimulant, which is widely consumed in beverages like coffee and energy drinks, has a significant impact on our sleep patterns and stress levels. Lack of proper sleep and increased stress are both factors that can lead to DNA damage over time. The cycle of caffeine consumption often leads to a reliance on the substance to combat fatigue, which in turn disrupts natural sleep cycles. This disruption can result in decreased effectiveness of the body's natural DNA repair processes that typically occur during sleep. Without these critical repair periods, our cells accumulate damage more rapidly, increasing the risk of mutations that could lead to cancer. Moreover, caffeine increases the production of cortisol, the body's stress hormone. Elevated cortisol levels over prolonged periods can weaken the immune system, reduce the efficiency of DNA repair, and increase inflammation, all of which are potential pathways to cancer development. To protect your DNA and reduce the risk of cancer, consider moderating caffeine intake or choosing caffeine-free alternatives. Herbal teas, for example, can provide a comforting, warm beverage without the risks associated with caffeine. Engaging in regular, moderate exercise can also help regulate sleep patterns and reduce stress, naturally decreasing the body's dependence on substances like caffeine to manage energy levels. Adopting these healthier lifestyle choices not only aids in maintaining the integrity of your DNA, but also enhances overall mental and physical well-being. It's about creating a sustainable, balanced approach to our daily habits, ensuring that we're supporting our body's natural processes and not inadvertently contributing to its harm.
Fetal alcohol syndrome is a condition that children can be born with to parents that drink 2 drinks a week. That's not very much, is it? There's a lot of information coming out more and more today on how damaging the alcohol is, not only to the cells of the human body, but how it affects the DNA.
Turning our focus to alcohol, its pervasive effects on DNA integrity are profound and multifaceted. Alcohol metabolism produces acetaldehyde, a toxic chemical and a probable human carcinogen. Acetaldehyde damages DNA and prevents cells from repairing this damage, which can lead to irreversible mutations and ultimately cancer. Particularly, it has a strong association with cancers of the mouth, throat, liver, and breast. Furthermore, alcohol consumption can lead to oxidative stress, another pathway through which it damages DNA. This stress is caused by reactive oxygen species that are byproducts of alcohol metabolism. These reactive molecules can interact with DNA, proteins, and fats in a destructive way, leading to cellular dysfunction and increasing the risk of cancer. Chronic alcohol use also impairs the body's ability to absorb and utilize various nutrients that are vital for maintaining DNA integrity. These include vitamins such as folate, vitamin B12, and vitamin D, all essential for DNA repair and synthesis. A deficiency in these nutrients exacerbates the risk of DNA damage and subsequent cancer development. To reduce these risks, it's advisable to limit alcohol consumption or abstain altogether. Replacing alcoholic beverages with non-alcoholic alternatives, staying hydrated and maintaining a diet rich in antioxidants can help mitigate some of the damage alcohol might cause to DNA. By understanding and addressing the impact of alcohol on our bodies at the cellular level, we can take proactive steps to preserve our DNA's integrity and protect ourselves from the potential onset of cancer. Embracing a lifestyle that promotes cellular health is not only about removing harmful substances, but also about enhancing our overall resilience against diseases.
Anger. I have a book called Lessons from Water by a Japanese scientist, and he did a lot of research on water. Now, when you put water under a microscope, it has the same shapes that snow has, and he found that when he shouted at the water, had heavy rock music, anger, violence, and then he'd look at the water under the microscope and the perfect forms would all be marred. And then he would do another experiment where he had classical music and love, joy, peace, even those words. What he found amazing was if he put the word hate on the jar that the water was, it marred them. If you put the word love on the jar where the water was, it didn't mar them at all. Interesting. And we are much water. We are 75% water from the neck down, 85% water from the neck up. And so when a person is constantly subjected to anger and violence, it can damage the cells to the point of even damaging the DNA. Now, if you're feeling very discouraged right now at this list because you may tick every box, I've got some very good news. When you stop the things that are causing the problems, very quickly the body starts to respond and starts to heal itself.
Building on the profound impact of emotional states like anger on our cellular structure, it's important to delve deeper into how chronic negative emotions can contribute to DNA damage. When we experience anger or stress, our body responds by releasing stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are beneficial in acute situations, but can be detrimental when the response is chronic. They contribute to inflammation and oxidative stress, which are direct pathways that can damage our DNA and increase cancer risk. Furthermore, chronic stress and anger can disrupt the normal functioning of our immune system. This impairment can reduce the effectiveness of one of the body's key defenses against cancer, the surveillance and destruction of cells that have begun to mutate. When our emotional health is compromised, so too is our physical health, including the integrity of our genetic material. To mitigate these effects, incorporating stress management techniques into our daily life is crucial. Practices such as mindfulness meditation, regular physical activity, and engaging in hobbies that relax and rejuvenate the mind and body can significantly reduce stress levels. Additionally, seeking supportive relationships and professional help in managing emotions can be crucial in maintaining not only emotional but also DNA health. The relationship between our emotions and physical health underscores the importance of holistic wellness approaches. By nurturing a calm and positive mental environment, we are effectively supporting our body's ability to maintain DNA integrity and prevent the development of cancer. Remember, the power to influence our health starts with the choices we make every day, and choosing to manage anger and stress is a potent step towards safeguarding our genetic health and overall well-being.
Fungus. If you look in nature, you will see that fungus can splice into the DNA of many plants. I look out the window and I see a casuarina pine tree and I see lichen growing on the bark. How did it grow? How does it grow on the bark? It splices into the DNA of the plant and reproduces itself through the plant. David Attenborough has a show on ants, and these ants are under the ground, and this type of ant grows a mold or a fungus, and the waste coming off, it rolls into little balls and stores as its food. But they found that these ants did shift work. So each ant only tended the fungus for half an hour at a time. Because if the ant tends the fungus for more than half an hour, the fungus can actually splice into the DNA of the ant. Whew. What I'd like to look at now is fungus, and by looking at fungus, we also address the germ theory. Fungus is a microorganism. Microorganisms, by their very word, are microscopic and they're living organisms. Microorganisms are everywhere. They're in the air, they're on our skin, on our clothes, on everything we look at, there are microorganisms. They're everywhere. They're inside the human body. There are 10 times more microorganisms in our human body compared to cells. And the largest concentration is found in the gastrointestinal tract. There are 10 times more there than anywhere else in the body. And whenever cell damage happens, these microorganisms have the ability to change roles. You see, if the environment changes, their role changes. And whenever cell damage happens, these microorganisms now become the cleanup team. One microbiologist said to me, we call them the garbage collectors because that's their role on the planet. So that's what the microbiologists call bacteria. It's an opportunist organism, and the more filth you find, the more bacteria that you will find. As the environment changes, the bacteria changes roles, or the microorganisms change their roles. And they go from being the garbage collectors to being the exterminators, which is your yeast and your fungus. We find them very busy on the rainforest floor, don't we? They're exterminating the matter on the rainforest floor. As the environment changes, they change. They now become the undertakers. And undertakers are taking away dead things. Their name is mould. That's what it does. And it's not long after the mould stage that the matter is now brought back to dust. And what does the preacher say at the funeral? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. He's referring to what's about to happen in that coffin. Did you know that they're talking about recycling graveyards? Because everything's just back to dust. I don't think they'll ever get away with it because of the memory that people have. But what I have drawn for you here is the cycle of life, or the carbon cycle. A basic law of science states nothing's created and nothing's destroyed. It just changes form. It's the cycle of life. And when you think about it, if a kookaburra dies in the bush, what happens to it? It's brought back to dust. Now out there in the bush, dung beetles, worms, scavengers, blowflies, they all help with the process.
Shifting our focus to another crucial factor, let's talk about the influence of fungal infections on our health, and particularly on our DNA. Fungi, though often overlooked, can have profound effects when they overgrow or when our bodies become host to fungal infections. This is not just about the visible infections. More critically, it involves internal overgrowths, such as candida, which can produce mycotoxins. These toxins are capable of causing DNA damage that can lead to mutations and cancer. One of the primary ways that fungi affect our cellular health is through their ability to produce aflatoxins, some of the most carcinogenic substances known to science. Aflatoxins can contaminate foods like grains, nuts and legumes when they are stored inappropriately in warm, moist environments. These toxins have been linked to liver cancer and can cause mutations in the p53 gene, a crucial tumour suppressor gene that helps prevent cancer by repairing damaged DNA and initiating cell death when damage is too severe. To guard against the risks posed by fungal toxins, it's important to maintain a diet that supports gut health and reduces sugar, which feeds yeast and fungi. Incorporating probiotics and antifungal foods like garlic, coconut oil and turmeric can help maintain the balance of flora in your gut, discouraging fungal overgrowth. Additionally, ensuring that foods are stored properly and avoiding those prone to mold contamination can significantly reduce your exposure to these dangerous toxins. Understanding the multifaceted ways in which fungi can influence our health is essential. By taking proactive steps to manage and prevent fungal infections, we are not just protecting ourselves from immediate discomfort, but are also taking significant strides towards protecting our cellular integrity and reducing the risk of DNA damage and cancer. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this information valuable, please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us share more essential health insights. Stay healthy and see you in the next video.